Okay,
So
Tommy.
here we go. Another show. Another beautiful day here.
Buffalo.
April, what's the 19th, right?
Wednesday, 21st.
Is it the 21st?
Yeah. Friday,
Right, that's
21st.
right. Right on.
I'm hitting the bar here. What the
Some
hell?
of our show is some of the products we promote. We're going to bring up again, of course, Lume and Bambi. Can't run a business and certainly can't date without either.
Gets fouled out
And
there.
it does.
So we're here. This is Friday, the 21st. 6 days before the draft. And we're going to talk a little bit of this. This is what we'll call our draft preview show. Looking at some of the Bills' needs, some of the thoughts about who will be out there, potentially for when it's our time, and there comes the grinding.
Quiet all day. Quiet all day. Before we get going on that, I just want to ask you something. The other night we were out, and your families and my family together, and I noticed you had pretzels and stuff. Were you dipping those pretzels? What were some of the, like, a pretzel? What would you dip in? What would be your top pick for drafting for pretzels?
What are you talking about? Dipping a pretzel in?
Yeah, what would be
French
your top?
onion dip, mustard,
Yeah, blue cheese.
blue cheese.
I think blue cheese. I would trade up for blue. Kidding, guys. Just kind of kidding there.
Yeah, when we get together, we have, and my daughter, she had to go to soccer practice,
Yeah.
and it was raining, and it was terrible, and I said to myself, well, this sucks.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, this GR crap. By the way, we've been on 13 seconds. We're going to take a break.
Oh yeah, well, before we get into the draft and everything, we do have to. We've been on. We're late for the break. We're
Wait for the break, Tom. I'm
The
telling you.
sports giant in our town.
It is giant.
By the way, if you're driving around local, and I tried multiple vehicles,
Yes.
you enter a power line, you get static.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can listen to Chicago Bulls basketball.
Yeah.
Clear as a bell.
Jamona.
Anyways,
Yeah, so
they
let's
had not
stop
only
here.
Bean and McDermott on interviews.
Yeah.
They also had Granato and Kevin Adams, and broke midway multiple times. I shouldn't say midway for commercials.
Yeah.
On the sports giant.
On the sports giant. So
Let's
you're in
go
the
ahead
middle
and-
of listening to the postseason.
The worst
Postseason
thing you
of the
get
draft.
here is a guy grinding his sidewalk for the second time in 14 hours.
Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the draft. Well, first of all, I put on Facebook, we're going to be live at Mikey B's salon, barbershop, whatever you want to call it. Don't think barbershop with snip, snip. Ah, there you go.
Stupid, you're dumb.
Stupid, you suck.
Nobody's
No.
walking in with brown paper bags with numbers or.
No, but this is a really nice place. We'll have some refreshments. We'll have a few laughs. Obviously, the Bills won't pick until about maybe 11:15. So we'll do it in segments where we'll do a couple interviews, a few laughs, talk to some of our listeners, and then
If you're there, you get a chance to maybe come on live.
come on live.
Yeah,
That's what I meant. I don't think we're taking phone calls. Anybody there can be live, and then as we get closer, as the Bills are in 3, 4, 5 of the picks of their pick, we'll go live. We'll go back live and talk about what we got left.
What we think might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we might have a special guest, the shoe shiner. We might be able to pull him away from Buffalo International Airport, although the hours are late. There's not many flights. Might have the shoe shiner on premises.
Well, the hours are late, and the problem is he lives off Sycamore. I'm not going to get him. You?
Well, no, but he's got to get himself there on his own.
I'm not going. I don't know about you. Okay. So let's start generally before we get into some of the prospects. Like a lot of discussion at 27. I think you could read in between the lines of. Actually, a lot of it wasn't even between the lines. He overtly said it. Was Brandon Beane basically said, "Look, we don't have a ton of number one grades on this class." In other words, he's basically saying that our board, he didn't say the number, but it's a lot less than 32 that he's got as number one. So he said this is not a great year for that. So he said, if I were to do anything, he said, and our guy isn't there at 27, we would much be more likely to trade back, like we've been talking.
Funny that you're a big analytics guy and stuff.
Analytics.
A guy went back the last two drafts, but I remember last year,
Mm-hmm.
and he took all the GMs that said they only had like 15 first round grades or 16.
Yeah.
Then went to every interview, every GM after they made their first round selection.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously 32 individual players. Came up with actually what?
We didn't know he'd be there.
30s, yeah, 30 some. So I know what they mean in a way, and everybody's board's different, but a lot of that is
Yeah, it's phony.
Tough.
It's phony.
Yeah.
They're trying to send a direction.
I don't think anybody passes out and says, "Oh my God." I mean, I'm sure they didn't when the Minnesota Twins were there back when we were.
Rude Nelson. They took who?
Well, they got called at home back before the draft was a big deal. And, Tom, somebody drafted him. He's going to Vietnam. No, NFL. What? And his father came in and said, "That kid he couldn't beat a drill. Who took him?"
Where's your Buffalo Bills? Oh, they're stupid as shit. They haven't won it ever.
It's kind of a GM talk, but you're right. Trading back probably makes the most sense at this point, right?
I think so.
I think more importantly, because we only have 6 picks.
6 picks. And then you also got to think about, we have some needs we're going to talk about in a minute. And we don't know if Bean believes that. I mean, we're sitting here as guys in a garage doing a show, but, Bean, he knows what he's going to do with this team. And when he gets to 27, he'll know if one of the guys that he's got outlined is there. And if not, see you later. And for us to speculate, it's going to be nearly impossible.
And I think more importantly than grades and stuff, that's exactly they have guys that they look at their team and what they consider strengths and weaknesses, and then they table 5 guys and say if one of them guys is there. I think that's right. More. In other words, really goes on.
How the board falls.
Right.
And with that, we won't know that. We won't know that till probably 11 p.m. on Thursday. Let's start with. We'll just pick a position. We know GR. Weapons. Let's talk a little bit about some of the prospects that may be there. Some maybe not as likely as others when we hit 27. So the big one is Ohio State. I think everybody knows that this Jackson Smith-Njigba is a guy that you could probably pencil right in. He's one of the guys that you would consider moving up for because he's that good. If the Bills want him at 27, it would be a near miracle that he fell to them. Basically, the talk about him is think Stefon Diggs, think same skills. Can get separation, can play slot outside the whole bit. So there's a guy that, if he were there, I think the Bills jump all over it. However, probably not going to be there. The guy that may be there, and it's the receiver from USC, right? And basically, what's that kid's name? Addison. Jordan Addison, thanks. Jordan Addison, they liken him that he's an outstanding slot receiver, but also can play outside. When you talk about the Bills and you listen to the Bills, they love versatility. Whether it's on the D-line, O-line, receivers, they love versatility. The kid can play the slot and he can play outside. Okay, so he's like a Diggs. Now he's smaller. I think Stefon Diggs pushes 200. This guy he's closer to 180. But he's a good prospect. There is a guy that if he drops to 27, you may see them pull the trigger. Now we're not sitting here talking about how, don't take a receiver. We're more just trying to say, here are some of the prospects. We'll get into other positions, but here are some of the guys you should think about at 27. And I think Jordan Addison is definitely one that you would want to be there, right? What would you think about either of those two, Tommy?
Well, the Ohio State kid, if he's at 27, that's a slam dunk.
Yeah, jump all over it.
That's highly unlikely, I think.
Highly unlikely.
If he drops to 20 trading up, I still don't think, I don't see us doing that with such limited picks.
Right.
All right. Addison, I don't think will be there either. Again, I wouldn't trade up for him at that position. If he's there, I'd have to see what else is available.
What else is there? Exactly. So he's not a slam dunk like Njigba would be.
Right. I really think the Bills like Hardy and the kid from Miami.
And we'll get to those, absolutely. And I think so. Addison was here. He came to Western New York for a top 30 visit. So that's pretty cool.
Also played at Pitt.
A guy at Pitt.
Addison. He played at Pitt for a few years.
Oh, and he transferred. Okay. So another guy that made a top 30 business is Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. They like this guy. He's a slot receiver, and they feel based on his college route tree, he would walk right into our offense. So think of a guy that maybe not is the best receiver, but fits directly into the Bills' offense.
He's got good size and good speed.
He does. He does. And, they like they did bring him in for the top 30 visit. The other guy that's been controversial a little bit because of his size, he's really small, is Zay Flowers from Boston College. A lot of people have mocked Zay Flowers to the Bills because he's probably the third or fourth receiver that therefore would quote be there. But he's another guy. What they like about him is his versatility. Scares me a little bit again is size.
He's very small. And he's got and listen, I don't know any of this. This is what I've read.
Right.
Very small arms.
Yeah.
He's not going to get you contested balls.
Right.
I think if the Tennessee kid gets anywhere near, that would be a guy that I think the Bills would jump on. I think he's big, he's fast, and I think that was something that maybe you'd see the Bills trade a pick or two up, maybe for.
And do the guy that
not Flowers. I don't think Flowers is on there.
Flowers scares me a little bit. So basically, there's a guy I've heard again mocked to the Bills, Quentin Johnson, TCU, Texas Christian. What they're saying about him is that he is a very good receiver, but they said pretty much he is Gabe Davis. So if you get this guy, the feeling is, and who knows, the draft nicks, the feeling is that you've replaced Gabe Davis, and the Bills are thinking, now we got our new guy, we don't have to extend Gabe Davis.
I don't know why they're so quick to think like that.
I love Gabe Davis.
Most of the Bills love Gabe Davis.
I know.
It'll come down to affordability again and his season he has, right? The kid from TCU, did they play in the championship game, right, that lost?
Yes.
He was huge for them. He's a big play guy. I think the Tennessee kid maybe fills more blanks than that kid does, Quentin Johnson.
They say this kid is more the swing for the fences. So that's the guy like
Although
Gabe,
Josh, is all he wanted to do is throw bombs. But
depends if he's going to change, right? But he's a swing for the fences guy. It was a lot of bombs, a lot of things like that. You and I talked, maybe that's something we don't want to get into right now because we're trying to get out of this. Everything's got to be 70 yards in one throw. That's about it. There's a couple guys, Josh Downs.
Another thing, from what I've heard, the receivers are going to be there 2 and 3 too. I mean 1, 2, 3.
No question.
You can maybe wait and get something similar too, but those names that we just mentioned would be
more of the first round. But then there's a couple guys. There's a guy to Cincinnati that got ranked more toward the 50th, and then again, he's a perimeter guy. Now he's not versatile. Same with this Josh Downs from North Carolina. He is only a slot player. So I don't see the Bills reaching on guys like that where they don't have the versatility.
There's a kid, Maurice Shankshorts out of Arkansas A&I that had some issues in today's times. It would fit perfectly. He played at the collegiate level as a women's softball player.
Okay.
Then also soccer, had a lot of success.
Became a man.
But switched back. He is a biological man.
Went woman.
And has switched back, and he has a lot of big play potential.
Now you said Shank Shorts?
Shank Shorts. I think it's called Shank Shorts. Shank Shorts. Maurice Shank Shorts. And
he's French, Maurice. I like it.
Yeah, and Arkansas A&M had a prolific passing offense down there, and there's a lot of mixed reviews on him, but it might be a name to watch on day 3 or day 4.
Okay, that sounds good. Day 16 would be good for Shank Short.
Just throw it out. You're going to get the names that you won't hear anywhere else.
And now is Shank Short? Is his Shank Short?
All I can tell you is
was it removed?
Shank Short. I don't think the Bills did not bring him in, but that would be something they would check.
Please drop your trowel. We're going to check out your Shank Short.
That would knock the Mills medical staff for a loop. Turn and cough. There's nothing here. Anyways.
So there's a small guy too called, it's funny, they call him Nate Tank Dell out of Houston, University of Houston. This is not a joke. But he's small, he's 5'8", 165. But they said he's got everything, skill, quickness, versatility. He can do everything. And they're saying this might be a day 2 pick, maybe 3rd round they're thinking for this Tank. So if you hear the name Tank at receiver and the Bills took him, you heard it here, pretty good player.
I think Andy Reid will take him and he'll be an instant All-Pro.
Of course, because he's much better than Reid. Why don't we go to linebacker? We've talked a lot about this. Wow.
Definite need on the Bills right now.
Definite need. Big hole in my. Now, you listen again. This could be all smokescreen. When you listen to our coach and general manager, they're basically saying, we're not worried. It's coming from within. And they re-signed Klein, AJ Klein. But guys like you and me are getting a little nervous about how to stop the run.
Well, and it's good that they say that too, right? And but the truth is, we've watched the games.
Yeah.
And there's a big drop off, which remained out of the game.
Right.
All right. Huge drop off. Klein didn't fill the shoes, and we don't have anybody else on the roster to do that. Klein's also older.
Yeah. It's a 1-year deal. Another one, fill the plug,
And you got a veteran in case things don't fall through, but they lost a big time player in the type of defense they want to play.
They did.
So
basically, there's a couple people. You've heard us talk a lot about Campbell. I think there's a consensus is he is a plug and play, but he's not the talent, that we think. Most people think he's not the talent that would get you at 27. That it's just too much of a reach at 27. And that he possibly could be there in the mid to late 50s. Now, again, if the Buffalo Bills feel that Jack Campbell fits into their style of football and can replace the guy that we lost, well then who cares about what number somebody says he is?
Right.
We'll have to take a look at that and see. But Sanders is a guy, he could be there in the low, mid, high 20s.
He's the guy,
kid
Sanders,
from Arkansas.
He's a guy that is more of a, on third down, he's going to stay on the field, but he's going to be with his hand on the ground.
Yeah.
And rush the passer.
I was going to say, he's not really, he makes a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage, but he's not really a guy that's going to cover.
And he's not tremendously big.
No, he's not. He's
fast. He's not going to cover. He's going to be a rush guy on third down. He'll play first and second down too, but he's not. He's going to bring you a different feature than Tremaine Edmunds.
Oh yeah, it's a different animal. I think Campbell is more the animal there.
To be honest with you, I don't see the Bills doing that because I think Milano's more that type of guy for them.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think Bedard fills those shoes eventually down the road too. He's more of a see ball, get ball, and I'm using that from scouts. That's not my thing. Bedard's more of a see ball, get ball type of player, and I think the Bills have a little bit of Sanders already here.
I would agree. What about OJ's grandson, Trenton Simpson?
He's a Clemson. He came from another school. I want to say he was at Alabama, and he obviously they're so strong. He
moved
transferred. I think I could be wrong. My son Tommy could tell you more about these guys. Trent Simpson, he's another kid. I don't think he's got tremendous size.
He doesn't.
But I think he's definitely a mid-30, mid-40 range type player.
Yeah, he's about top 40. What they're saying about Simpson is that he is a very good athlete and a very good linebacker. However, as the Buffalo Bills play defense, he really isn't. He doesn't fit the scheme.
I'm thinking, knowing what we know about past drafts with the Bills, past comments by our GM and especially our coach, Campbell fits exactly what they want.
Yep.
The problem is
when do you take him?
When do we take him?
To 27, maybe too early. 59, he's not there. That's the whole thought about Campbell. I think if it works out, I think Campbell's your guy.
I think if the Bills could find somebody 31 or first or something, picking a second round.
Yeah.
That wanted to switch places, get us an extra pick, maybe third or fourth round, whatever the Jimmy Johnson scale says.
Yeah.
Then you could take Campbell
I agree.
at 30, 33, 34.
And then we have to ask, are you making yourself feel better? For example, we sit here and look at all the books, right? But as we said before, if our GM is sitting there going, Campbell's our guy, who cares if it's 27, 34, or 59?
If he can play, and every scout that I've heard, and I have not heard everyone of them.
We've heard a lot of them, though.
But we've read a lot, listened a lot. That kid is exactly what Tremaine is. Maybe with almost the same athleticism, and I think he's what they would need. They need a guy, everybody, to call the signals too.
Yeah, got to be smart.
And Milano's not that guy, and not because he's stupid. He's not a very vocal player.
No.
And this comes from the Bills people telling us that.
Right.
You know?
Well, you can almost tell he's very shy in his discussions. He's not a real grab up and shake you kind of guy.
And Campbell is not, and they like that Northern Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin type player.
Right.
And I think the Bills take him at 27. Let's say Sanders goes off the board real quick to somebody.
Yeah.
Or not real quick, but in the teens.
Teens.
That, I think Bean doesn't hesitate to take Campbell.
I would agree with that.
But
I think that might be your first pick, whether it's a 27, 34, 35.
And remember, guys, again, this is based on the Bills play that
nickel,
that two linebacker system.
Big nickel, yep.
And they need a guy, a 3-down linebacker. Remember Luke Kuechly? That was Sean's guy in Carolina. By the way, who does he train with? Jack Campbell.
Yes, he does, and Kuechly is really respected by Sean. So
he was a guy that made Sean's defense go down there. And again, I don't know the numbers. He never did what Lawrence Taylor did. Stop all that nonsense. These coaches, to be successful, look at Don Granato. They find a system that fits their player or a player that fits their system. You can't put round pegs in square holes.
Right.
And they're not going to come out of that for whatever that big nickel D. They need somebody to play that role. So
yeah.
I think it's Campbell and they're smoke screening on all the rest. But whatever.
And how do you know they got big nipples? You said big nipple D?
Big nickel, I believe. That was Shank Shorts. He had some issues with that. But anyways, that's my answer with those two guys. I don't know if there's any like day 2 or day 3 guys. Bale Inspector's a Bills draft pick from a year ago. I think he's another. Let's see, Will. He's more of a Sam linebacker.
Right.
If the Bills would go to a 4-3, which they don't do a lot.
They don't do a lot.
But Spector's another kid. He's a really good special teams kid and stuff. And
talking about day 2 and possibly early in the day 3, there's a couple guys. A kid from Wisconsin, Nick Herbig. The issue with him is he is a stand-up edge rusher, but they believe has the beef, size, and smarts to stand up, so or to play middle linebacker. So that's something. He's got really good instincts in coverage. They play him as an off-the-ground stand-up edge rusher, but he also drops back into coverage. Now
that could be.
But what they're saying there is that he'll need a full year to figure out the D. So he's not a plug-and-play, and maybe none of these guys are. Maybe if you get maybe even if you get Campbell, he can't plug and play. We don't know.
Most of the guys I heard said he could play right away. He's a 4-year starter there, but again,
I've heard that too.
They were talking about learning the Bills D and stuff. An interesting comment again from Sean McDermott, and none of our Paulie Pulitzers jumped on it. They asked him about the running back room.
Yeah.
And you got 3 candidates back. Well, actually 2.5, he said. 2.5 because
this was interesting.
Nyheim Hines hasn't picked up our offense yet. Now, I've met Nyheim Hines at an autograph show. I know that doesn't... Very well spoken, very nice. I've heard a couple interviews with him. What in the heck isn't he picking up? Or slow it down then. Yeah. He hasn't come up to speed on our offense.
He did say that.
That's the second time he said that.
That is the quote. Absolutely. He said it during the year last year, toward the end of the year. And now he says in the offseason he's not quite ready. Holy crap.
And Damian Harris is, because the terminology is very similar. I found that very interesting from Sean.
Yep,
McDermott.
I did too.
And, for as much as we say, was it Leslie Frazier or wasn't it? He had the headsets on. And there's times when he becomes involved where he's supposedly not involved. And now we're glad to believe that he's not involved in the D. I don't know. It's funny with him.
Yeah.
He had the headsets on. That couldn't have been Leslie Frazier's decision all the time to back off and not cover anybody.
I totally agree.
That had to be Sean McDermott. Because then they'll say, well, Hines hasn't caught up yet. That's not even your side of the ball.
It's not your side of the ball.
I don't know.
I'm not buying it. Listen.
Thought that was an interesting comment, though, about Nyheim Hines.
It was very interesting. And I think, back to your point, I think we're going to find out pretty early on. Because if we're still covering grass week 4, well, we got our answer.
No matter who we draft. And by the way, Von Miller's looking good and all that. Guys, he's not going to be back till Halloween.
Oh, my God. Everybody. He didn't have a brace on. Relax.
He's not going to be back, guys. These guys are like finely tuned thoroughbreds, right? They're not going to rush it back. They're just not going to. And you don't want them to.
Yeah.
So we're going to need help. I like Rousseau. I like Epinesa. I like Shaq Lawson. Mm-hmm. Boogie Basham, I haven't seen anything to not like yet. But you got to do something to help these guys.
Yeah.
You got to get up and get in these wide receivers' faces.
In their grills.
Yeah, give your guys a chance.
All right, let's talk a little bit about defensive tackle. Now, there's a guy that everybody seems to say that, excuse me, he's a 3 technique. So basically, he's at Oliver. And they say he's a perfect fit. It's this Brian Breesy from Clemson. However, they're saying he probably would be gone. And even if he wasn't, they're saying, would you spend first-round capital on a guy that is at Oliver?
Well,
and again, back to, are you trying to replace somebody?
First off, again, tell me his size.
Yeah.
Ed Oliver's a little bit smaller regardless of his position, for his position. Like, he's not your prototypical defensive tackle. Right. What is this guy's size, number one? Number two, Ed Oliver isn't signed after next year.
Correct, and that's the point. Are we looking to replace Ed Oliver? They're saying this guy would be it. Now,
was he from Pitt or Clemson?
Clemson. The guy from Pitt is Khalil Kancey. He's small with short arms.
I'm going to say a negativity there.
Totally. They said that this is not the Bills' kind of player. They don't like the shorter, squatty arm guy in the middle of the DT.
But does he wrestle?
That would be points right there. It's like getting extra points on a civil service because he wrestles. The guy that's really getting excited, there are people getting excited about, is Mazi Smith out of Michigan. Now, they're saying that he would definitely be there first round, but praying that he would get there to second. He is a 1 technique, and he is a bear with some rushing ability from the 1 next to an Oliver. Okay, the big stuff. Think Daquan Jones, all right, and he could be a long-term starter next to Oliver should Oliver stay. So he's not trying to replace. We're trying to get in there with where the guys are lapsing, the Daquan Joneses, the Settles, and those guys. So that would be a really good pick, and a lot of people I'm seeing have us moving down to get Mazi Smith. It's M-A-Z-I. It's a great name. I named my first grandchild Maisie. There's another one Bean loves to do on day 2 is this Gervin Dexter Sr. out of Florida. He plays both 3 and 1 technique, okay? And he's got upside. So I think it's like not Spector, the other kid, Bedard. This is kind of, to me, like a Bedard. It's kind of a swing in the 3rd round, maybe, to get a guy that's just athletic, can do both, and maybe we can make something out of him.
I think with the cap, the way that it is and the way it's lining up for the Bills for next year, I'm going to think that maybe Ed Oliver, unless he has a phenomenal year, and I like Ed Oliver.
Right.
For everything he's done, for the help they've given him. We had failures with Star Lotulelei and COVID and all that nonsense.
You said that really well. Lotulelei.
I think they might let him search the market and see what he can get. And I think the money will go toward a Gabe Davis. Unless that gets ridiculous, okay?
And what are we going to see, right? Now, let's say we get up in press coverage, and Oliver's a new animal, right?
And Oliver,
and suddenly he's in the backfield all day because we're not giving him that quick slant.
We asked him to do a lot of stuff that he wasn't physically able to do.
Right.
By the way, too, if you look back at some of the games, a lot of his jerseys grabbed. And
what are you saying, refs?
Yeah,
really, you gonna sit behind you?
I just think Mazi Smith makes a little bit more sense than some of them receivers we mentioned about going up for.
Yeah.
Because I think cap-wise, it makes just a little bit more sense.
Well, cap-wise, because we're losing everybody on the line, the D-tackle.
And that's another great point, too. Although you can bring back the one-year guys again, too. But I think as a long-term fixture, they need that beast. New England found one.
Yeah.
The Jets found one, and Miami has one. You need that disruptor up there in the middle.
Absolutely.
But if you don't do anything to watch them receivers, then I could play that position for you.
There's one last prospect. There's a guy from Wisconsin, Keanu Benton. Now, the thing about him is he plays 1 technique, but out of the 1, he can rush the passer. Well, that sounds great, but a little inconsistent against the run. So unless you're thinking 4th, 5th round, maybe to beef this guy up, I think it's too much of a reach given our situation.
You know, guys,
especially a linebacker.
This time of the year, and we all do it, we grab like a magazine or look online or whatever, and you'll read positives, right? And then you'll read can tackle, instinct, get the ball, big game player, calls the signals, negatives, has periods of stupidity, blacks out, sometimes doesn't know where the arena is, puts left shoe on right foot. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it does crack you up.
You know, doesn't understand sometimes what's going on. Has a hard time voting without a buffet line. You know, it's just unbelievable. But
Well, let's talk a little bit next about tight end. We'll switch back to offense.
This is where it gets intriguing.
This is where it gets intriguing. So there's a guy, Michael Mayer. He's probably going to be gone from Notre Dame, right? And do you want to go?
He won't be there by the time we draft.
He probably won't, and you got to think about it anyway. With Dawson Knox at 5, 6, 7 million, whatever we're paying him, you're probably not going to invest a 27 there. So now another guy.
Although,
go ahead, yes.
The monster.
Well, hold on, he's coming. Then Oregon State, Luke Musgrave. Okay, they're saying this is a guy that could potentially drop to 57. And that is just great athleticism, receiving everything, but blocking. Okay, he did make a visit to the Bills. The Bills were intrigued, and he did come to Orchard Park. Then the guy you're talking about, and everybody's talking about, is Darnell Washington.
From where? Where's he from?
Georgia.
This guy is intriguing. Right. This is the Josh Allen pick that we made. Throwing a dart, going for the home run.
Right.
This guy is a freak of nature.
Yeah, he is.
Super strong, great blocker, good hands, decent speed. He's hurdling people. Now, he's not going to hurdle a lot of NFL guys, right? But put him next to Dawkins,
yeah,
or 79 Brown. Bump that edge guy and get out there. That could be something really intriguing.
And that's interesting. For everybody that talks about weapons, the only thing they're talking about is wide receivers. Right. I'll tell you, you get a monster like this, an athletic monster who can say, we're going to do the RPO or we're going to run. There he is to block. But then we're also going to frig around with you a little bit.
If the Bills came out of this draft, and here's what I'm going to get laughed at, with Campbell and him in whatever order, I'd be pretty excited about that.
Me too. I don't think people would laugh at you, because I think this kid you could then, start with a 2 tight end formation, pull Dawson Knox out in the slot, and leave this kid to slam a guy and then go out.
And not only that too, and you're damn right about Dawson Knox playing in the slot, but this kid is so athletic. Maybe he could play tackle for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, last year they kept bringing in Bobby Hart, to play the 6th lineman when we were trying to get first downs.
Bobby Hart, I don't know if you know this, downtown, the old AM&A's.
Yeah.
It was a client, AM&A's with the revolving door.
Yeah.
He got stuck in it. Kidding.
What are you saying? Can't block.
I
know. Then there's another guy that was very close to what you said. Schwanzenkamp, the other guy you just said, the guy that we used to be. Shank Shorts. So this one is Luke Schoonmaker, not Shank Shorts. And he is definitely on the Bills' radar. Everybody's saying that this is a guy they'd like. They'd love to get him in like the 3rd round. Blocker, established blocking tight end that still has hands.
There's another one.
He's not 1st or 2nd round.
There's another one that could be a day 4 or even a day 16.
Shank Shorts?
I'm trying to get the name right. Johnny Twatternut. And
wait a minute. Hold on. So hyphen Twatter.
It's German, Twatternut. And the problem with him is he's got 3 dads and they all wear skirts. So we're not sure about that. But he's got a lot of upside.
Twatternut.
I'm just telling you, did some research.
Yeah, you've done a lot of research. Let's talk a little bit about running back. Don't even talk about Bijan Robinson. He's not going to be there.
If they make that pick, I'm calling
That's
them
it.
resigning
what
the
are
season
they
tickets.
doing down
I'm
there?
going to come on this YouTube channel and blast them.
That's what we heard from GR.
By the way, it's time to break. We'll be right back of these words from. Never mind, I'm not going to name it. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, Bijan, I'm not even going to talk about it. That kid is talented. He could be a huge weapon here, but he's not going to be available.
If he was sitting at 27,
then you got to take him. I'm going to go on a limb.
He's pretty friggin' talented, and he's got good size.
Yep.
I don't know. If for anybody that laughs at me about that, and then laughs at Campbell and Washington,
mm-hmm.
Well, then you're saying, well, the talent, here's one of the best guys in the draft.
In the whole draft.
Find something to do with him.
Yeah.
Maybe he could play wide receiver. He's 6'1", right?
He's a 3-down back. They said the talent is just off the charts, the speed, the quickness. You put him in the slot, you do a lot of things. Now, we've said that before. We said that about Nyheim Hines, and we never put him anywhere.
Well, because I think there's a funny thing going on there with our coach
mm-hmm.
and GM, maybe. I know they get along, but when we drafted him, he had the square jaw, and he said he hasn't caught up to speed yet.
Yeah.
Didn't use him much. And now this year, the same comment.
Same comment.
So,
by the way, we didn't draft him. We traded for him.
Traded for him. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But Bijan Robinson, right? Well, you don't draft back there because the value. Screw all your charts and thoughts and bullshit. Can he play receiver?
Exactly.
Can he move out to play wide receiver?
Yeah.
Fred Jackson was a running back, wide receiver. He played all over the field.
Yeah.
Good athletes can play anywhere. Why does he just have to be a running back?
And that's the thought, right? I mean, if you find a guy that is just super talented.
This lightning speed runs through people, runs over people, all this stuff, can catch the ball.
Yeah. And
he's sitting there. Why not take? Can he play wide receiver?
I guess the only thing we could say is if he's sitting there at 27, what is everybody thinking? What's going wrong? But again, the Dan Marino syndrome. Okay, well, they pass. He's a Hall of Famer.
But not only that, I think it's because they pencil themselves into running backs aren't important anymore, especially in a dynasty league.
They do.
And it's so stupid. Good athletes are good athletes.
Yeah, no question.
And okay, we're not gonna. And well, for him to be good, he's got to get the Rock 30. All of a sudden, it's the Rock now by these guys with their cigars and brandy. But well, so he touches the ball maybe 10 times a game running. Remember, the Bills don't expect running backs to do a great job in their RPO. Mm-hmm. Well, you turn a guy like this has got to be a weapon for the Bills.
I totally agree.
He's on the field. You've got to make
if he drops to 27, even if you don't take him, you got to take your first 5 minutes and think about it.
Or you got to maybe take a phone call.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, my God. Well, you got Damian Harris. All of a sudden, you got all these guys there, and that's great, but we didn't take a receiver. I'm telling you what. If he's sitting there, not knowing, obviously,
what else happened,
what else could happen, and anything else about what they found on film or whatever the hell. Right. That kid's he's a talented football player. I believe he's about 6 foot.
Yeah, he's actually a little bit bigger than Cook, and he'll knock you over. But it's really going to be the speed that kills you.
And he can go out and catch passes. As did James Cook. Why didn't Josh throw him the ball? Why didn't we use him as a receiver?
Great question.
They're weapons still.
Weapons?
Does it matter when they all line up? Well, that's a 28. Forget it. Oh no, that's a 6. No, it can't. It's got to be receiver. And you'd rather take 5'9" Zay Flowers with no arms?
I think he has arms, but they're a little short.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just
you got to calm down. Last week I calmed you down too. It's getting out of hand.
It's unreal.
No, but there's a guy out of Charbonnet, Zach Charbonnet. He's French Canadian. He actually named Buffalo Buffalo. He's from UCLA. He is a big, powerful, pounded snot out of your running back. There's a guy we really don't have, and that would be fun. But they're saying, and maybe if you could sneak him in the third round, it'd be a good pick.
Also, there's Bijan Robinson's running mate. I think his name is Washington also.
Okay, let me see. So it would be Texas, huh?
He's a big, powerful.
There he is, Rashawn Johnson.
Okay.
220 pounds, less explosive, has no mileage on him because he played behind Johnson.
Right. There's a guy that could be a 4th or 5th round guy. Watch that name, everybody.
Yeah. And he's listed as a top 90 prospect. Right. So he's a pounder too. So good for you. You picked that up. You're so wise.
I get stuff. Every once in a while I get it.
You're wise beyond your years. Honest to God. You want to talk about OT?
Tell me seriously, if somewhere next weekend,
yeah,
you hear or you see across your TV screen, twat or not, laugh a little bit and say, "Hey, I heard that on Straight from the Hip."
Well, I would have to call you directly, and then the next show I would say directly to you. I would just bow. I don't even know if I'd say anything. I'd just bow to you. Because that would, if you get that twat or not, I mean, how do you pick that? Nobody's got twat or not on the radar. So you're incredible. Let's talk about tackle, offensive tackle. Now, it could be smoke. I don't think it is. They're going on and on and on about Spencer Brown, how good he was, or how good he will be because he won't have the back injury. He'll have a camp. I don't think they're just blowing smoke.
No, well, we've seen him play.
Yeah.
Okay, number one, use your eyes, and
well, many people would argue with you and say, "I use my eyes as a turnstile."
Well,
he's had a few up and down games. I would say he's lacked consistency.
He's a turnstile when it comes to Josh back to pass, overlooking the 8-yard pass, and looking for a deeper ball.
Mm-hmm. It could be. It could be the setup.
And if he throws that ball short a few times, that's going to take the steam off the edge rusher.
Yeah.
But he also injured his ankle in September. Big guys, bad ankle.
Back surgery, bad ankle. Tough year for the kid. I don't think we're going to go that high. I don't think we go offensive tackle.
There's really no one there, I don't think. Really.
There's a consideration. There's a kid from Oklahoma, Anton Harrison, would be somebody you'd grab at maybe 57. Other than that, I think we probably won't be looking at that.
I agree. There is one old lineman I'm intrigued by.
Yeah, let me know.
You're going to have to look on your thing there, the Wisconsin center.
Okay.
Just an outside pick there. He's big, and he's a hell of a center, and we need a little
I
back
could
up
use
down
a
the
back.
road.
I do not have him on my list.
He's not there at Wisconsin Center?
No.
I'm sorry, I can't think of his name
No,
right
it's
now.
okay. I mean, and to be very honest with you, look, we've, and I've done this. I've kind of gone beyond guard now because of the two we picked up.
He's also, I'm sorry, a center guard.
Guard, right. I was
which
going
is
to say
something
that.
the Bills really like.
Which is, they like that. I think the off-season free agency has pushed that back maybe slightly. Maybe the guard's not a first, second, third rounder. He's more a fifth, sixth. I don't know.
One thing the Bills did not do a good job with in later rounds was the offensive tackle or defensive tackle. Take a look at what that is.
It's an electric light.
Right, and who was riding it? That just be.
Yeah.
It was. If you listen to Buttigieg, people of certain thing are more likely to get hit by cars while riding bikes and walking. It's because our roads are set up.
Well, discriminatory.
That's a perfect
roads.
example. Right down the middle of the street. That happens nonstop here.
Yeah.
And he's almost gotten hit a few times. Does that add into the stats? Anyways, going back to the draft.
Yeah. So, no, center guard. So I was really worried about, we had to upgrade a guard. I'm starting to think better about it, considering the two guys we got, and Morse. But I think we have to draft for the future, although we only have 6 picks, and how much more can you draft?
I'm
That's
sorry.
the problem.
What I was about to say, the Bills didn't do a good job down the road in the late rounds grabbing offensive linemen, but did a great job grabbing corners,
Linebackers,
safeties, and stuff like that.
yeah.
So you know, either this or that, right?
Yeah, I was
half of
gonna
this,
say,
6 dozen of that.
You only have sometimes 7, but 6. I mean, so it's a tough
You know,
one.
Baker's dozen. You know, a lot of times that was just a bad guy just counting wrong. They don't tell you that, do they?
They never tell you that. I got safety. We could talk safety. I don't think we're going safety until probably at least the 3rd round. There's some guys out there, especially they're saying as a replacement 2 years down the road for Jordan Poyer. Guys that'll come up, knock the snot out of you on the run game, but can also cover. Kid from Penn State, Jair Brown, Jordan Battle out of Alabama. But again, we're looking more third day, second, third day.
Damar Hamlin, God bless us, coming back, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of, and that rap kid,
well, that's
young man.
That's nice.
Safety's looking good. You got Bedard. They like Cam Lewis.
Yeah.
Again, and of course you have Poyer and Hyde getting older. Got injured last year. Let's hope we get a season out of both of them. That neck scares me with Micah, but he wants to play. Well, the heart scares you too with Hamlin.
Right.
Maybe a safety down the road in that, but we're looking. We got to do something to help the rush. Whatever.
I was going to say, and I think this year, normally I would say definitely we got to start looking at safety, but given 6 picks and needs, I would say that would be on my back burner, based on the fact that Hamlin came back and Jordan came back and the kid from Rap.
The center from Wisconsin, center guard, and now I'm going to name you a linebacker from Notre Dame. I'm not going to name the name. I'm sorry, guys. Look it up. I'll look it up before the show. Was really highly ranked, like a second or third round type player. Notre Dame linebacker, tackling machine.
Okay.
Hurt his knee.
All right, so he's dropping in
near
there.
the end of the year. And they say probably won't be drafted.
Okay.
But I forgot the name doggone it. He's a Notre Dame kid. But look for maybe an invite or something. He's a linebacker, decent size.
Okay. Well, this is where you get the tidbits for our listeners.
Out of Notre Dame.
Team captain. That's
special teams did it all,
yep.
And really good kid and stuff. But he hurt his knee, and they're saying now he might not get drafted. So.
And kudos to you to coming up for Roschon Johnson, the backup in Texas.
I do remember a few things that I hear.
Well, you know, here comes the bus.
Back from work camp. Let the children's laughter. Anyways,
and lastly, I want to bring up corner. You could see maybe 7th round. Maybe I think we have a 7th rounder. I think 6th is where we're missing, right? You see, I'll take a look. Yeah, I think we don't have a 6th, but I'm kind of brain dead. Actually, we don't have a 7th. So I could see in the 6th round us taking a corner. As I said last week, this draft is supposed to be just loaded with corner help all the way through. And
there's a couple of real intriguing corners.
Go ahead. You can never get enough of them
in this draft that are really versatile. And we saw what happened to us last year. I'm sure that's on the back of Brandon Beane's mind.
Right.
Trey Day, knock on wood, it's going to be Trey Day again. And just in case, what if, right?
Yeah.
And they love those big corners. They love Levi Wallace. There's a couple of them in the draft.
Yep.
A day 2, day 3 type
probably
guy.
Day 3, yeah.
But a corner, you can in a passing league, you can never go wrong with a receiver later on, a DB, and I think the Bills got away from the beef. That maybe you see them stocking up a little bit on beef, or signing some undrafted free agents as linemen.
Oh yeah.
There's a
and guys that get released from because they got replaced on their team by draft choice.
There's a Bill on the current roster right now, McNair.
Yeah.
The safety from Alabama.
Yeah.
That we got from somewhere.
Good program. I mean, geez, you never know. The last thing I'll say is a lot of talk before, and he's kind of dropped in the rankings. O'Cyrus Torrence, the guard from Florida. He's not a guard center, and so quite frankly, I mean, if this guy's sitting there at 57, I think you got to think about it. But he's not.
Maybe, but again, the RPO.
Yeah.
And so I think you're doing a disservice to the kid.
Yeah.
Not that you worry about that kind of stuff, but the Bills don't do a lot of road grading type running plays.
No, they don't.
I mean, if you wanted to, it'd be a dream come true for that kid. But I think the guards they got now are okay.
I like them.
And
McGovern, Bates, Moore.